hurriedly sat in my chest and scampers across the paper, leaving bloody footprints on my ribs. Why can't I scream, say something, do anything? Why am I so afraid? This is a quote spoken from Melinda, a teenage girl's perspective from the novel Speak, written by Laurie Halse, which captures Melinda, who became a completely negative person after which she was known by a boy named Andy Evans at the party. As you can see, she's frightened to death, and that's because Melinda is intimidated by Andy Evans in the position of power, causing her to be unable to speak out. This is what censorship is. And today, I would like to talk about how much censorship impacts lives of both individuals and groups. First of all, the imbalance of positional power between the assailant and victim is always a major cause of censorship. Assailants are going to heighten their violence by acting kind, loving, charming, likable, and fascinating in public, whereas they behave crudely, violently, undermining, and manipulatively in private. By employing such tactics, they often gain control over the victim, who is likely to be unpopular, smart, with few no friends, religious, disability, and/or due to their sexual orientation. Now, let's compare this with the characteristics of Andy and Melinda. Andy is a charming, cool, popular guy in the school with a perfect image of fascinating other students who don't really know his true identity. In reality, he's a selfish and abusive guy inside who desires to be worshipped by the other students, especially the girls. On the other hand, Melinda lost her friends and turned quiet, neither trying to raise her living, nor she realized the necessary existence to anybody. After the party, it is okay that there is clearly a disparity in position of power, but what will make Andy and Zealand and Melinda a victim of censorship? The biggest scene of present censorship is the attacks from Andy to Melinda. At the end of the book, Andy tries to keep Melinda quiet from refusing or shouting while he starts attacking her physically and verbally in the locked closet. Likewise, the relationship with the position of power is vital when considering the causation of censorship, but is the level impacted by the amount of power the assailant has? Given the example, students will have less opportunities of learning, especially about sexual issues, since books mentioning sexual assault and orientation are often banned from school, just as speaks prohibits as well in reality. On the contrary, censorship and social media and manipulation done the scale of country, including cases where social media platforms are all blocked in China, the worst have captured journalists, makes citizens unable to ensure any of the foreign information. In addition, there is a check on the post from a country before you decide whether or not it's been out on the internet, as well as a constant suspension of social media to prevent people commenting or stating something that influences China negatively, which all these citizens' lives are more inconvenient and difficult. Now, it is obvious the censorship done by individuals to another individual has a lesser impact than the censorship done by one group to another group, as the censorship in school only affected students, as well as Andy only impacted Melinda, because these only possesses an individual power. Yet, as mentioned before, China possesses power on a large scale, affecting the entire population. This means the more the assailant possesses power, the more impact of censorship inflicted upon the victim. To conclude, there are only negative impacts on breaking out the process of censorship, as they will impact you emotionally, while they take away your freedom of action, and certainly don't want that. Actually, no one deserves it. And the way Melinda protected herself from being censored by Andy, as introduced before, is calling and shouting out her voice. So I say, speak up for yourself. Speak up your voice. Because you can't expect to make a difference unless you speak up for yourself.
Have you ever dreamed of being a mega millionaire or a billionaire? Private jets, luxury yachts, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, extravagant parties. The life people want. Well, is a life of unlimited wealth morally and ethically allowed? First of all, I define morality as a personal view on good and bad, such as using your money correctly or not for illegal things. Ethics is how society views good and bad, like not being arrested by the police. I say, yes, we should morally and ethically allow such wealth. We should have competition in our society, otherwise there will be no intrinsic motivation for individuals to be more wealthy. Such absence of motivation can cause lack of productivity because if billionaires exist in the society, we can have unlimited productivity by giving money to the companies. It is also the nature of capitalism to have competition. Famed Nobel laureate economist Milton Friedman explains what kind of society is structured on greed. The problem of social organization is how to set up an arrangement under which greed will do the least harm. Capitalism is that kind of a system. Capitalism is the least harmful way to allow people to have greed, and greed should be part of the society. The average monthly income of a person in the world is $1,480, whereas the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, has a monthly income of $200 million. Is it fair? In fact, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders explained the alternatives regarding tax on the extreme wealth as taxing only the top 0.1% of the U.S. household. By taxing individuals earning $32 million or more per year, the U.S. could raise $4.3 trillion over 10 years. If this could be implemented in the society, the fairness between wealth and poor will be kept. So I ask again, is it really bad to have someone with unlimited wealth? Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. What will the world look like without Elon Musk? As EVs increase, the cutting edge of it is Tesla, Elon Musk. If Elon Musk isn't allowed to accumulate his wealth, he wouldn't be able to develop his innovation. Tesla for society, which results in almost 15% of the world's EV sales disappearing. Modern days mega millionaires and billionaires that Elon Musk contribute to society. Bill Gates has worked to combat poverty, and Talashiana has a scholarship to help Japanese students. Mackenzie Scott is giving away her money to an organization that fights for equality. Can you now say that mega millionaires or billionaires should not be allowed in society? Yes, there could be corruption in public services, but extreme wealth will create competition amongst workers to reach for a higher and better version of themselves and society. With the constant growth in people with a healthy mindset, their morality and ethics will improve as a whole. If you want to have private jets, luxury yachts, and high-branding clothes, as well as significant societal and social contributions from individuals, you can in a world structured by people's greed. In this capitalist world, greed allows you to be your best. Greed is good.
Did you feel sad because you thought you were different? Acceptance is the action of consenting to receive or undertake something offered. So the question is, how important is it for us to find acceptance? Acceptance has many types. I would like to talk about two types of acceptance. First, it is important to be accepting of others. I think it is about recognizing them as they are. It does not mean that you have to do something for them. The other person feels understood because we have been recognized how they are. It is better to accept others because we can stop pushing our own opinions, no longer obsessive about others, and no more worsen relationships, and we will face ourselves more often. Second, accepting reality and who you are. When you can get yourself as you are, you will not keep blaming yourself, and you will be able to cope with reality. It is important to admit to yourself that you are struggling to face reality, to take a step forward. Accept yourself as you are. In conclusion, by finding and accepting our weakness and areas we have not seen, we can think the same way about others. It is not an easy task if most people in society will be the similar ideas, but we can create a society where discrimination is reduced. Being different from others is not a bad thing. but rather a good thing it is unique, and where it is good to be who you are. I hope that such a society can be created. I believe that when you accept yourself, that is when you decide how you want to live your life and accept others.
Our identity can be viewed from different perspectives, not only by others, but by ourselves. So, is there such a thing as a true identity? I think identity is based on experiences from the past, and your identity can vary depending on which part of your past you focus on. You might be bullying someone in one year and comforting a lost child you barely know in the next. So, is the identity we show in school our real identity? People might have one identity in school and another at home. Conclusion. I guess every person has their own ruler for measuring someone's identity and focuses on a different point to measure it. The thing is, one's identity is constantly changing as we experience new things every second. Sometimes, you only have to change your view to change one's identity from your perspective.
Laughter is the best medicine. This quote is from the Bible, chapter 17, verse 22. And my interpretation of this quote is that laughter is the best way to cope with negative feelings such as depression and stress. Today I'm going to explain whether comedy can effectively explore serious issues or not. But first, what is comedy? Comedy usually has a happy ending, and its main purpose is to entertain the audience through humor or by criticizing the reality that people are afraid of. By doing this, it can help them to release their laughter, to cope with hard times and see the things that they were afraid of from new perspectives. It can also be effective when gaining young children's attention. Mentally, it can stop depressing emotions, activate and relieve stress response, and even shift the way people think. Comedy simply makes us smile, and by laughing at comedy covering serious issues, it can help the audience to be more interested in them and see those things from different angles, so comedy can effectively explore serious issues. Now, do you think that laughter is the best medicine?
Now, the way we handle positive censorship usually refer to controlling information. So, does censorship matter? As a way of controlling information, parents can control what we see and do with some devices. But in this situation, parents are trying to protect us from dangerous content, and the sense of censorship we are discussing today is not controlling for safety. Of course, censorship can protect people from harmful content, reduce the amount of conflict that exists in the society. However, in my opinion, most of the time censorship refers to things that are not good. Censorship fits people's argument, and censorship prevents an individual from expressing himself freely and creates an adverse impact on society at all levels. People need a space to express themselves, feel safe, and empathize with others. I think it is important to talk to people and not hold these things in. It is difficult for people to express themselves when they are pressed, but they must gather up the courage and talk to someone first. If you do this, the situation will improve, just as it did for Melinda. In reality, there is some place to talk to others about your experience to make their mental health better. Therefore, overall, I think there are more negative effects of censorship, such as restriction on information and statements. Please remember that your single action could help people from getting affected by censorship and suppression. Do not get too involved, do not get too detached, and try to work with others, not just yourself, to make sure that you have enough time to interact with the person in question. People have right to speak up, express, and live.
Girls are more emotional and sentimental, softer and feminine, and as compared to girls, boys are more masculine and more athletic and powerful. At a school or formal occasions, people have an opportunity to wear a formal uniform. Girls wear skirts and boys wear pants. In Japan, girls wear kimono and boys wear hakama, and this is all affected by our gender stereotypes. Then, why is the gender stereotype connected to the social pressures on girls and boys? So this will be the cause that gender inequality happens in this society. Gender inequality is the social and cultural differences between gender, and also like a label from the society that says you should act like a man or you should act like a woman. Also, gender inequality causes unequal access to rights. Therefore, according to the definition of gender inequality, this will be an evidence as a social pressure put on girls and boys cause the gender inequality. Therefore, to improve the social pressures, on boys and girls, and to stop the gender inequality, we have to take out the gender stereotypes and build in our own values. And to take off the gender stereotypes, we have to accept the individual as not getting caught up in gender. The colors are not only black and white. They are blue, red, yellow, and orange, and all individuals' personalities should be accepted. You are you, and I am me. This cannot define us only gender, and don't forget about it.